Hi, myself K. Pravan. So today we will be discussing about environment and ecology. Unit 1 is multidisciplinary nature of environmental studies. So let us first see what is multidisciplinary, why they have given the name as multidisciplinary, and what is the function related to the environmental studies. So here what we are seeing in the environmental studies, there are different fields or science which contribute to the environment. So for example, if we see what is the role played by different science like chemistry, physics, medical science, geophysics, geology, and astrology, astrophysics, oceanography, geology, history, economics. So why we are keep stressing on this multidisciplinary subjects? As we are seeing that in our nature, every subject has a important role which plays, and it gives which gives a very big picture to life to sustain. So here the definition what we are seeing about the environment is a person's environment consists of all the sum of total stimulation which he receives from his conception until his death, or in other way we can say that the term environment is used to describe in an aggregate all external forces or influences or conditions which affect the life, nature and behavior and the growth and development of a maturity of a living organism. So here what we are seeing, there are two factors, that is we can say abiotic or abiotic or living and non-living things which contributes to the environment. For example, if we see the non-living things like or abiotic factors which influence the environment like sun, water, wind energy, solar energy. So these all plays an important role in our day-to-day life for sustaining to get a life. Okay, when compared to the biotic life, which is a living form where we utilize all this energy or source of abiotic to sustain to get a life. Okay. So here the scope of environment plays a very important role, and what differs is that why we are so concerned about the environment, because we believe that environment plays a major role and it is like our mother earth, and we say like we need to protect it until and unless any disastrous thing happens. Before that we need to take a precaution and we need to keep control on it. So what are the four segments like which keeps an environment or planet earth to live? Those things are like, first is the atmosphere, the second one is hydrosphere, third is lithosphere, fourth is biosphere. So let's see one by one. First thing is atmosphere. So what makes difference, what is the importance, or why it is so important to know about the role played by the atmosphere? Because if we see the planet earth, only planet earth has this kind of blanket or a thick covering which gives a life to the living organisms. So if we see in depth, the atmosphere consists of three gases, that is oxygen, nitrogen and carbon dioxide. Okay, so here oxygen and nitrogen plays an important role for the living beings, whereas carbon dioxide gives a warm blanket, a warm atmosphere which gives energy or a temperature to sustain the life. So the composition of the gases what we are seeing in the atmosphere blanket is oxygen and nitrogen, where the nitrogen percentage is about 78% and oxygen percent is 20%, and the remaining other percent is of other gases which are very minute or little in quantity, but it is also plays an important role for the survival. Next comes the hydrosphere. As the name itself is saying, hydrosphere. Hydro means water. So if you see the planet Earth, the nature has its own water system where 97% of Earth's atmosphere is filled with water, that is in the form of oceans, and about 2% of the water is in the fresh form, which is in the form of like icebergs or glaciers, which cannot be consumed, whereas only 1% of the fresh water which is being able to consumed is in the form of rivers or lakes, streams, and in the form of groundwater, which is very important in the human consumption and other daily uses. Lithosphere is the outermost mantle of the earth which makes the solid, and here what we are seeing that the lithosphere consists of organic matter, air, water and mineral resources which are not only useful for the plants but also for other living organisms, so which makes an ecosystem to sustain its living form. Next comes the biosphere. So it is a narrow line which is in contact with all the three segments, that is atmosphere, hydrosphere, lithosphere. When all these three together are formed, a living atmosphere is being created where life exists. Here in this biosphere, what we are seeing, different kinds of living organisms, right from plants, animal and microorganisms, and apart from that human beings are also play in this biosphere. So due to global warming, what we are seeing, there is an imbalance in the biosphere. Due to one of the main reason is like natural disaster, what has been seen in Amazon forest and recently even in Australia also. These kind of natural disasters and even other X factors like due to industrialization, urbanization, we are consuming the natural resources to our benefit and we are destroying the mother nature. So in biosphere, what we have to see is that we need to maintain the biosphere atmosphere. We should not make it a place where other living organisms get disturbed or get extinct, due to which the biosphere name itself gets in a troubled way. So for example, if we see a biosphere, a good example is a forest, where we are seeing all the three factors what I have been told, like hydrosphere or lithosphere. Here the lithosphere are the mineral nutrients which are giving the minerals to the plants to grow, and these plants are giving directly or indirectly to various other organisms like birds, animals, and the hydrosphere which is providing the water to get life. And to consume all this ecological balance, there is another tertiary or other what we say like other category of person or living form is there which controls or maintains this ecological system. Let's see what are the elements of environment are present. If we see, there are like three elements what we are seeing in the environment. One is the physical environment, second one is the biological environment, and third one is the cultural environment. So here the physical elements what we are referring is nothing but about the space, the landforms, water bodies, hills, mountains, rocks and the soil. And when compared to the biological environments, we are referring it to the plants, animals and microorganisms and humans also, which constitute the biosphere. Whereas cultural elements, these are the economic or social or political elements which are very essentially made by the man to utilize this both physical and biological elements. For example, if we see, we are maintaining an ecological balance through in a different way or different angles. For example, if you see a natural system or an artificial system, natural system is something like an ecosystem like pond, which is naturally built and where it consumes, where it has lots of animals which gives life to all kind of, right from the small microorganisms like algae, fungi, bacteria, to zooplanktons, planktons, to the fish, the bigger fish, and after that the whales, and artificially made ponds or lakes, which are like due to some reasons we have entered the zone or region where the natural bodies are being disturbed for our pleasure. For example, if a person who is traveling from a village comes to the urban area, he admires the tall buildings, all those things, because it is very new to him. When it in the vice versa, if we see an urban person, he is traveling towards a village, he admires the mother nature. He sees the waterfalls, forest, natural environment around him, and what are the like peaceful things. So to maintain this balance, what we are doing is we are focusing upon the multi dimensions of the studies of science, where we can utilize it to maintain the ecological balance. For example, a person who is studying in history, he will be like giving us a broad picture about the Emperor Ashoka, who knew what is going to happen if the environment is being damaged. So in his period, what he has done is like he had planted a lot of plants, and he has given an importance to the plants and animals and other sectors. Whereas geologist or geography, he is the person who tells about the mineral resources, where it is been abundant, where we can utilize it, and where we can give a proper utilization, where there is a deficient in other places, where we can transfer those things and make the barren places or other places where it has been required much, so that the imbalance between the mineral deficiency can be erased or decreased. In a similar way, like if we see that an economist, he can value the natural resources, as most of the people are not aware of the natural resources what they are having and where the demand is more. For example, if we see the culture system of the Western world and the African system, here we are seeing a lot of difference. The people in the Western culture, they are adapted to the cold climatic conditions, and the people in the African or Asian region, the people are not much adapted to the cold and temperate regions when compared to them. So here there is an exchange between the goods what is being present in the Asian or African continent, or the goods which are present in the Western culture. So here the economist plays an important role. And when compared to the biotechnology people, here what happens, due to some reason or the other reason, we don't know, or we might be knowingly or unknowingly, we damage the plants or any other microorganisms which are present. So to preserve them, to make the food supply change in a very good way to the global demands, we use the biotechnology people's role here. Here what we are doing, we do tissue culture, and we conserve the endangered species or animals or plants to preserve for the future generation, so that they can utilize it. Instead of giving fertilizers, we can use other developed strains within the molecules of plants or microorganisms to enhance the skills of the microorganisms towards the crops what are being grown, so that the food supply chain can be improved and production level can be increased. So what makes us this as very important towards getting aware about the environmental studies? So here what is the necessary? Why? Because due to some evil consequences of urbanization, people are damaging the environment. So what they are doing, they are using the natural resources in a very bad way, or in a way that people in the next coming generation will be lacking those resources what are being here now. For example, the renewable or non-renewable resources like fossil fuels, which comes under the non-renewable sources. Here what we are seeing, the coal, petrol, other oil products are being utilized very badly, and this is very alarming. And here we are using the technology engineering people to make other alternate source to use other than coal or petrol. We can use other forms of technology where it can be make preserved for the next generation to see what is being there or not. One of the main reason is also that we are here seeing that there is lot of increase in the population due to there is uncontrolled way of what is happening. People are not much concerned about the population. There is no proper planning about what the future generation is looking for. They are utilizing each and everything what is being here right now. They are not concerned. So it is our duty to make sure that the whatever resources are there, it should be reachable to the next generation. So here, by doing this kind of things, we can save the humanity from extinction. We can see an alternate solution towards the emerging problems, and which also it will help us to give a proper planning for the development of the society, which is very important. So here what we are seeing, there is a need for public awareness. For example, if a population is growing, we need to make sure that there should be a control, there should be a proper alternative way through which, if the population is growing, how we need to overcome the food supply chain, how to overcome the other resources what is being utilized by the population. We need to eradicate poverty. By this also, one of the main reasons we are not very much concerned about what is happening in the environment and the agriculture growth. So as we are seeing nowadays, people are moving from agriculture sector towards the urban areas for the sake of jobs, and even the agriculture land is being utilized for the construction. As you are seeing, wherever the agriculture land is there, there is a lush green environment and waterfall, all those things which pleases the urban people, because they are living in a concrete world. So what they do, they go and they purchase all the agriculture land for the construction of a villa or something like that, and they keep building these kind of luxury hotels or something, where there we see a imbalance happening. And this, due to this imbalance what we are seeing in the agriculture sector, the modern technology we can't utilize over there. Like whatever the farmland which is being there, it is getting limited, and in that limited resources what we are seeing, the growth production getting decreasing day by day. And another one of the major factor what we are seeing is now that the groundwater, people are not utilizing the water in a proper way. For example, a person who is utilizing the water in his daily needs, like for a person who is staying in a home, he uses lot of water, and this water goes directly to the sewage. He doesn't have any calculation about how much the water is being utilized properly and where it is being dumped, like where it is going. He is not having any awareness about the water what is being utilized. If he has a consciousness about the water, like how much he is being utilizing and how much it has to be preserved, then it will be useful for other people. And nowadays what we are seeing, the borewells are dug very frequently in very few kilometers, and what we are seeing, water is getting dried up in the summer times, and the borewells are filled with the plastic bags or all those things. And due to this, when the rain comes, the water doesn't percolate beneath the soil. And one of the recent example is like Chennai, where we are seeing Chennai and Bangalore there, where we are seeing that there is a lot of problem faced by water, even though it is surrounded by water bodies which is like water area, still they are not able to get a proper drinking water due to like various reasons. Mostly the people are not aware of the water what they are utilizing, and we need to even see that the people should people, or it is not only the people, even the government is also giving a helping hand towards maintaining this environment. So what we are seeing in every government institute, there is a must of subject where students get a broad knowledge about the importance about the environment, how it maintains, and what are the key factors. If it is not properly maintained, what are the effects what they are going to see in the near future. Even if the people are not taking a proper action on this one, we can see there are a lot of problems we are facing nowadays. Like for example, if you see Delhi, there is air pollution where the content of the breathing air is decreased very drastically. People are like not getting proper oxygen. They are facing lot of respiratory diseases, bronchitis, asthma, because why? The pollution level has been increased due to ecological imbalance. Here what is that? There is no plants, and whatever the forest land is been there, it is been chopped off for the sake of the paper or timber. And even we are seeing the similar case with the water. Water is being contaminated with the sewage lines, with industrial effluents, and all these things which are like when the end of the day, when it is being consumed by the people, we are seeing that it is been having lot of health effects, like people getting health issues like gastrointestinal, dysentery, and other waterborne diseases which are very alarming in nowadays. So we need to keep an eye on what is happening, like how to control this one. See, we admire the environment what is being here and what is built which is being created by the God. So we need to keep an eye with all the subjects like chemistry, botany, zoology, oceanography, economics, science, ethics, political science. All together we need to club all this science to make the environment in a living form. For example, this was long back was observed and kept in notice, like the future generation might be not knowing what is going to happen. So very famous people in India and abroad had given their views, and they have even written a lot of books and published research articles about the importance of a environment, how to maintain it. For example, if you see the Charles Darwin, he has beautifully explained about the ecosystem what is been in the Galapagos Islands. He has seen that there are different species of organisms are enjoying the nature. So man should respect it, he should not interfere it, and he should protect the species whatever is being there. For example, even MS Swaminathan, he used his knowledge like the science technology, and he brought us from the poverty, like we were in a stage that we were lacking food supply. So he brought green revolution through genetic engineering, and now we are having a surplus amount of food. Similarly, Salim Ali, he played a key role and in understanding the understanding different species of birds. He is also known as a birdsman of India. Similarly, Medha Patekar, she is been known for Narmada Bachao Andolan. She is one of the lady who gave importance to the tribal people, how the lifestyle they are living with the environment, how they are protecting it. Even Maneka Gandhi and other people who are giving importance. So here what we are seeing that it is not only the government's duty, even the civil or public people, means both have to work on both hand to hand. So then only we can save. So there are some of the international organization as well as Indian organization and NGOs which are working towards the preservation of this environment. For example, if you see the international organization, what we are seeing here now, WWF and IPCC, IUCN, Greenpeace, and all these kinds of organizations are very concerned about the mother nature. They want to see if any disturbance is being created from any other parts, like any person or any organization, industrial organization, where they are polluting by dumping their chemical effluents into the water or the soil while extracting minerals from the soil. Similarly, here in India we are seeing Botanical Survey of India, where the Botanical Survey of the Indian government is keeping an eye on this forest land and the aromatic plants and medicinal plants, what are the species which can be used for the medicinal purpose. Similarly, in Zoological Survey of India there is another branch of Indian government where the animal species are being in record, whether they are being extinct or in threatened stages. So these are like various organizations what we are seeing towards the preservation of the ecosystem, we can say, or environment where we are living. So it is our duty to maintain this, because imagine a life without natural environment. A person who is going outside using an oxygen bag, that doesn't sound good. So we need to keep an eye that we should plant more trees, and we should keep an eye on what all kind of daily uses what we are using, whether it is harming mother nature or environment. Like we need to see that, for example, we take plastic, because plastic has been playing a major role nowadays and it is everywhere, and even the government has now strictly taken steps to close it and ban those plastics which are not able to degrade even 15 to 20 years. So in that case, what we need to focus here is we need to see, like, instead of plastic, what all other things we can use to minimize the usage of plastics. Okay, once we have taken the plastic, whether it can be used for any other purpose or not, we need to see, and we need to keep an eye on what all the sources, like we need to every time analyze like how it is being produced, like from where it is being coming. Is it coming from the factory where it is having any chemical effects on the soil or the plants or the water bodies? So by this we get an awareness, and we can pass this awareness to other people also, to make them aware what is happening around us. If we are not going to do this now, then it will be a problem for the younger generation or the future generation which is going to be coming to face it. So we need to see, like we need to provoke the younger generation and public, like what is happening. For example, if we are using, for example, that is paper, we see that a lot of paper wastage has been done, but most of the people are not aware that the paper is being made by trees. So we need to say that, them that paper is brought by like machines when the timber is gone under various process, and there are some chemicals which are carcinogenic to other animals, and they use a lot of chemicals which like spoil this soil and then nearby an environment. So we need to make sure, and we need to also make sure that the paper what is being utilized, it can be reusable. Similarly, like cooking food, we should not cook more than what we are having, like consumable. We see like now in urban places, like people cook more food in parties and function, and they discard the food leftover. Instead of discarding, we need to give it to some charity people, and by this we can control the food chain, like people who are having problems facing with the food, like they are hunger, they can utilize it, they can like feed themselves. by which there won't be any wastage. So we need to keep like all these factors, we need to keep in consideration towards like what is happening and what should not done in a way where people like other people, we should not get involved ourselves, like urban people, like mostly the industrialists, they divert us towards a new technology where it might be harming the environment. For example, now we are using lot of Wi-Fi which most of the having impact on micro animals, like small animals like honeybees. They can't they face lot of problems, they due to the frequencies what is being released. Even the plants, they can't grow. So we need to see that only whenever it is necessary we need to use it. We need to restrict the use to certain point. We should not encourage it. Is in a it is like it should not be used in a very rash way. Like it should not be whatever we are using, it should be in a proper controlled way. Thank you so much for listening the class. So I will be hope that you all will be having a broad idea about what is the environmental studies all about. So even you need to keep an eye, like whatever daily needs, daily uses what you are using, you should have a keep an eye. We should not use it very in a rash way. Thank you so much.